The Maji Sister Wife tribe chooses polyamory as our marital system because it allows for authenticity, open relating with the opposite sex, non-possessive marriages, and a mode of a lifestyle that allows you free of ego. It allows you to be completely in your soul in the driver's seat. My name is Asha Sekhmet, and I am a Tantra practitioner. I am an oracle and spiritual leader in my task with my purpose, which is to build a sovereign community based on a spiritual life system of initiations that I have gone through, and to build a community with tribal polygamy and sovereignty. So I want to frame this from the perspective of why polyamory and how this is actually used for community building, right? Now, with my community, again, I have stated this before. It is a life path. It is a choice. It is a commitment. You cannot choose to live a modern lifestyle and then attempt to become a part of our community. It actually, those two paths actually conflicts with each other. You have to make a choice. So for us and my tribe, polyamory is about community building. It is not separatism. That means the polyamory that we practice in my tribe is committing relationships. They're not for just for fun or lustful desires, or even if someone chooses to do that for sexual desires. That's not why we practice polyamory in my tribe. So it is, the relationships are built together based on what makes sense for the needs of the community being built, right? So us getting land together, us having a nationality, us having a way of life and our spiritual practices in which we can enjoy safely, privately, and off from the rest of the world, right? So I wanted to frame it from that perspective. People have a myth that polyamory is on the table when something is going wrong or lacking in a marriage or a relationship, but it's the exact opposite of how it's supposed to be practiced. So now we're going back to like the deeper fundamentals of a human being, like in our nature and how we relate with the opposite sex, by and large, right? Majority, right? Of course, the human spectrum of the experience is vast. It is a spectrum. So no one human experience fit into one thing, right? But let's just say for the majority, if we go back to the fundamentals of relating with the opposite sex, that natural attraction, polyamory is then how we talk about how to engage in a safe, structured practice coupled with a faith-based system. And then you can get something more organized in which human beings can thrive and live authentically in who they are. Okay, so the polyamory that we practice in my tribe is open, meaning that technically, based on my community standards and how we're being led to practice polyamory, if all parties involved do not have full disclosure of each relationship that's involved in a dynamic and the extent of the intimacy, that is not polyamory based on our standards. So for our standards, it wouldn't be separate. Let me give an example. If I am in a marriage with my husband and then I have another man who is courting me to be his wife, there is first consent between both men They know about the relationship of each other in the attempt of what we're trying to do, which is establish a new marriage to add on to. It doesn't have to be a marriage, right? It could just be a relationship for whatever that is needed. Let's say for business, right? And then intimacy would be involved, and that's what we're both deciding, me and this other man that wants to court me. Okay, I need consent from both men. I need consent on the relationship. So we treat the relationship as an entity. So we come together. Think of it from a community-minded perspective. We sit down, like ideally, this is how it would go, right? Like I would be present and my husband would be present and the man that wants to court me. We would talk together and we would treat that new relationship like an entity. We would say, okay, how does this serve each member that is present right now? How does this serve the collective of our community? What is the end goal, the destination? And ultimately, how does this align with each of our purposes and helping us evolve spiritually? That's how it would happen. And then when you get all consenting parties, that's polyamory. Everyone is completely aware and consent to this new established relationship entity that's now being added to the community. It's being created, right? So, which there's a lot of beauty in that, right? That's a very beautiful thing, because then you can have infinite creations, right? So I wanted to give more of a spiritual context of how the vision is of us practicing polyamory in the Maji sister wife tribe. Okay, so the main thing that has been the most appealing to me about polyamory is that it is non-possessive marriages, and then it is reciprocity. So I just want to make sure that we understand. I've heard different contexts of creators talk about polyamory in which they say it's non-committal, and that is not true, right? Polyamory should be committal, right? Again, because the only reason that you're practicing any form of polygamy, polyamory, is for community building. You're not doing it for no other reason in terms of people in my tribe. That means that it's not based on necessarily what you want as an individual. It's just what makes sense for the needs of the community. And in that, you get the love, you get the beauty of creation, you get, the relationships that allow everyone to evolve spiritually. And yes, there is challenges. There is significant challenges in trying to do this. Now, I kind of want to talk about myself briefly. So, of course, if you watch my content, you are a man, you see that this is what we practice in my tribe. Yes, I am polyamorous. But we have to understand, what does that mean, right? Because first, I only practice polyamory with Black men, okay? So it's closed off to anyone who does not fit that identity, okay? So heterosexual polyamory is what we practice in the Maji sister wife tribe, because it is a part of our life system dealing with the polarities of masculine and feminine energy. We deal with polarity. We actually believe in our life system, you have to work through the opposite sex to achieve divinity. That is a part of the life system. If that doesn't align, we're not for you. Find your tribe. But I have to talk about, so back with me, if you are a man, and let's say that the reason that you would even want to engage in polyamory, if you're talking about with me, is because you seem to be led with a value that you have as a Black man, and for the vision that you see with community building, nation building, and also sovereignty. So you would be looking at it from an angle of adding to community building and sovereignty. Like you're looking to bring something with that. And then in that, there can be, right, if there's consenting parties, and if I personally would have saw that as a good fit, then now let's talk about, what do Asha like? Because let's just do that here. Look at my content before you even reach out to see if that would even be possible or feasible based on the entity that I am, right? Who I truly am. I do not care about titles. I do not care about how much money you have. I do not care who you are. And what I mean by that is you could be a famous person and you can have a lot of money. I do not care about that. I can validate the work and the hunter in you for what it takes for you to acquire resources. But that alone is not how you win me over or win my heart. One, I look at your ability to work with other Black men who see a vision like this, and you can work with them. Like in our community, every man that is in my community meets my husband because my husband is my protector. How well do you have a relationship with my husband? And then also other men, again, in the community who are other Black men who are committed to this vision. How well do you interact and engage with them and your family? And then being a part of something and being committed to something bigger than yourself. If you operate in the conditioning still of the divide and conquer, of looking at your brother as your competitor, possession, if you still have those deeper rooted conditioning, we will not align, because this is supposed to be something that is for all of our souls to be the driving seat. If you're operating in that frequency, that means that you are governed by your ego, and that is dangerous. We would not align, because I do have an ego. However, I have to stay in my purpose, right? So everything that's holding us accountable is a hierarchy to the creator. So for our community, there is a distinction. It's not saying that the creator is external. The creator is internal. I specify and I make a distinction because of the times that we are heading in. We are in dangerous times where people are so ego driven. And it is time to get right with that creative energy. That's how you make it to the new world in your lineage. So I hope this is like speaking to you if that's what you're thinking, because it needs to resonate with your soul. If you're ego driven, it won't align. And that is definitely a turn off to me. I'm so turned off by that. I am in search intimately even of something beyond this earth. So why would that allure me? I don't care who you meet. And again, I don't care who you are and how much money you have. I am committed to something bigger than myself. I am committed to something that is supposed to be for future generations of people who look like me. Sovereignty, community, land, ownership, and most importantly, having a pathway to transcend humanity. It's about living a life beyond the mundane. You have to align with that, or you could never be intimate with me. You wouldn't even like me. I'd be way too strange for you. I'd be way too weird. So that's why you have to ask yourself those questions and think about that. The Maji sister wife tribe life system is an indigenous way of life to become closer to the creator without strict religious doctrine. There is a life system. I have this as a purpose. So I would never convert to something, right? I have a life purpose. It is a very advanced life system that predates like world religions. It is very advanced, okay? So that's the part I wanted to mention. The polyamory that we practice in our tribe is a part of the life system, but the life system, that is the greatest value, the greatest asset that I can offer a Black man who wants to spiritually evolve. And if he wants to have a polyamorous relationship with me or potentially be my husband, the greatest asset that I have to bring to you is my spiritual life system to help you spiritually evolve, because it is something money cannot buy. Trillions of dollars couldn't equate to it. Okay, so that's the greatest offer that I have. And we use polyamory as our mode for the soul community thriving, instead of us having some type of ego machine enslavement, meaning that you're being enslaved to your ego, to lower human nature desires and needs of like being a certain way and status. Polyamory is just our vehicle, our mode to help us have a soul community that is thriving. When I say soul, I mean the individuals involved are soul-led, we're heart-led. We strive to live a life of balance and reciprocity, right? The highest level of spiritual divinity that can exist on planet Earth, right? That is what we have been given. And it is by the Creator, right? I follow a hierarchy of the Most High. So if that aligns, then we're here. If that aligns, okay? So that was the last bit of everything I wanted to say in terms of polyamory and group marriage, right? Being authentic, allowing you to live authentically. We do not practice separatism. So if your idea is to have what you have going on and you think you could just have access to me or another sister wife in the tribe, that's not how it works. You cannot do that. You actually have to be a part of this community, building up the community with us, investing it, time, money, resources, relationships. You would be investing in it. That's how you would have access in developing potential partnerships with either women in my tribe or myself, if that was your interest. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that I communicated all of this. If you are interested in any polyamory or polygamy, if you're interested in it and it's new for you and your husband, if you're a woman, or your wife, if you're a man, then you can book a consultation with me, a polyamory consultation with me on my website for just $25. You can do that if you're interested in learning more and opening that conversation up with you and your significant other. So let me know if you have any questions about that. If you are a woman and you're interested in learning Tantra, or a man who wants Tantra services, you can book on my website at www.AshaSekhmet.com. And also for sisters, for women who are looking to engage more into your wifehood, becoming a Maji sister wife, and being a part of our tribe as well. You could do femininity coaching. That's a prerequisite, something that can get you started. And then long-term vision of full-blown womanhood initiations. Okay, so I will see you all in the next video.